On air. All right, I'd like to call the order of the Planning and Zoning Commission meeting for March 6, 2024. Roll call, please.
Arel. Here. Budke.
Here.
Kleva.
Present.
Kuhn.
Here.
Lensky.
Here.
Mattson.
Here.
Reichert. Sandy.
Here.
Wasvik.
Here.
We have a quorum.
All right, reading and approval of the minutes from the February 7th meeting. Any comments, questions, motions? Mr. Budke.
Move to approve.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Budke. Thank you, Mr. Kuhn. Any further discussion? Not seeing any hands. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed,
Aye.
same sign. Thanks, Megan. I'll slow down a little so you can keep up. Public hearings, final approvals, petitions, and minor changes. 3-1.
3-1, replat of Alexander and Ives, second re-subdivision, 921 North Washington Street with street and highway ordinance dedication.
Ms. Grasser.
Good evening. I'll just go over the replat and rezone together, if that's good with you guys. So the
Absolutely.
replat we're looking at here is to dedicate this little portion down here. There is going to be a dedication of a 5-foot easement along North Washington Street. There is also a replat or a rezone with this replat, and that is to include a change from the East B3 to R3. We did send out notification 800 feet around these two properties, and I received one phone call just wondering about the density of the R3. And I told him that there are twin homes proposed for these two lots, and he didn't have any further questions, just wondering what specifically the density was going to be. So with the rezone and replat, I can take any questions that you have. This is
Anything
final.
for Ms. Grasser? So that was both of them, correct? So I'll break them up for the public hearing. Anybody in the audience want to come up and address item 3-1, please do so at this time. Not seeing any, I'll close the public hearing, bring it back to the commission. Ms. Thank you. Thanks, guys. Moved by Lensky, second by Mr. Bodkey. Any further discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed, same sign. Okay, 3-2, would you read that one in, please?
3-2, ordinance to amend zoning map rezone to R3 multiple family, Lot A, Block 1, and Lot C, Block 1, Alexander and Ives, second subdivision, located at 921 North Washington Street.
Anything to add, Ms. Grasser? I'll open the public hearing. Anybody want to step up the mic and speak on item 3-2, do so at this time. Seeing no one, I'll close the public hearing, bring it back to the commission. Moved by Mr. Kuhn,
Second.
second by Mr. Mattson. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. 3-2 unanimously passes. 3-3.
3-3, approval of Merritt Valley Middle School located at 2100 Fifth Avenue North.
Ms. Johnson.
Thank you. So this item is for the approval of a mural at Valley Middle School. If you'll recall, this past summer in June 2023, City Council did vote to approve a change to our mural code to allow murals on schools and residential districts. At the June 7th Planning and Zoning Commission meeting, you all included in your motion to approve that mural requests for schools be heard by Planning and Zoning Commission as well as City Council for approval. It specified that mural size, location, lighting, maintenance plan, and fines be evaluated for each request, as evaluating based on content's not permitted. So that brings me to this request. It is to place a 4-foot by 8-foot mural on the south side of Valley Middle School. You can see the location here where this arrow is pointing. It's on the south side facing eastward into the courtyard right next to the front door. There's no additional lighting proposed. School district staff will be doing inspections to ensure there's no damage and taking care of any damage if there is any. And fines for failure to maintain the mural will follow Section 18-1102, penalties of the Land Development Code if it's not maintained. I also have some other photos here just to give you a good perspective. This is approximately where it would be located on the building and the size. So this is taken from the courtyard, so it would be on this wall here. And then I also added some street perspective photos. So in this photo, this was taken just a few weeks ago, so obviously there's no leaves on the trees, so you can see that little circle is roughly where it would be on the building. So somewhat difficult to see from the street side, and especially from those rows of houses on the other side of Fifth Avenue North. And here it's just a Google Street View photo in the summer. When the trees are out in full force, I mean, it's pretty difficult to see that area where it's going to be from the street and the homes. We did send out letters to property owners that would be on that Fifth Avenue North side, that would be right next to it, and I didn't receive any inquiries or comments on it. So with that, staff's recommending approval, and I can stand for any questions.
Okay, any questions for Ms. Johnson before we open the public hearing? I think we've seen this one and all were okay with it. So I'll open the public hearing. Anybody in the audience like to step up and address 3.3, please do so at this time. Seeing no one again, I'll bring it back to commission. Mr. Budke.
Move to approve.
Moved by Mr. Budke, second by Mr. Lunsky. Any further discussion? Seeing no hands, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. All right, 3-3 passes unanimously. Communications and preliminaries.
4-1, vacation of 40th Avenue South right-of-way and 2 adjacent utility easements as platted within Opportunity Park First Re-subdivision located at 4200 block of 40th Avenue South.
So what we're going to do on this one we discussed prior is Andrew's going to talk about 4-1, 4-2, 4-3, and 4-4. We'll come back, break them up, and vote on them, if you guys are okay with that. Kind of all ties together again. Okay, Ms. Edwardson.
Perfect. So just a quick overview of just to orient where we are. I-29, 40th Avenue South, 44th Street. Ironhide here, Revolution's Power Sports just to the north here. So what the replat and the subsequent items are doing is enlarging the lot in order to get some increased interstate exposure. That lot 1 lengthens along South 42nd Street as well as goes back here for a larger lot. So with that request, 40th Avenue is being requested to be vacated along with subsequent utilities just to realign it. 40th Avenue is not yet constructed nor any utilities in it, so it is actually quite easy and more of a paper element for us to realign that street to accommodate the request. So it's an easy thing to do there. The rezoning is necessary in order for that realignment. That lot grabs an extra element of land, which would otherwise be ag. So that's the need for triggering the rezoning to make sure the whole lot has one zoning on it. No change is being proposed with the rezoning in terms of the uses allowed. The area was rezoned probably back in 2015, something like that, with the B3 plus industrial uses, and there's no proposed changes there at this time. The annexation is requested by the developer as well as some discussions with the city. We would be removing the annexed, the island that was previously in place. When we first platted Opportunity Park, in order to put the lift station, right-of-way was annexed and the remaining lands were not, in order for us to get those utilities in for the necessary lift stations. So with this development, we're filling in the unannexed island as well as the 140 annexation policy in order to assign special assessments accordingly for those utilities. So the vacation is just the relocation of that, or the reduction of that right-of-way, and then that right-of-way is rededicated on the subsequent plat. So a little bit of everything there, so I could stand for any questions for all of it.
Any questions on the whole thing, Mr. Budke, before we move on?
Yeah, I had a question. I think technically, I guess it's on 4.2. That's where the access control is mentioned.
Okay.
Maybe I was just misreading it, but it looked to me like access control was like prohibiting entry from 42nd, like from the east. Am I reading that correctly?
Correct. There is one small access up to the north, which is shared between Ironhide and this one. So that would be the limited access on 42nd Street, which is one of our major transportation corridors. And then access is limited farther back in order to accommodate the traffic flows needed for 42nd. So their access on 40th would start here, which would allow for a turn lane and subsequent things there.
Okay, so you mentioned the Ironhide lot just to the north. So have they been, is there like a joint access agreement in the works, something like that?
I don't know if an agreement is in the works, but their plat would indicate a 20-foot on their side of the lot, which would have been part of their lot sale and disclosures and things like that. This would just be matching that on the south side.
Okay,
Okay.
all right, thanks.
Any other questions? I guess we'll break them up. We read 4-1 in. Any comments or questions or motions on 4-1? Okay, moved by Mr. Lunsky.
Second.
Second by Mr. Mattson. Any further discussion on that one? 4-1, not seeing any hands. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. 4-2, would you read that one, please, in?
4-2, plat of Opportunity Park Second Re-subdivision located at 4200 to 4400 block of 40th Avenue South with street and highway ordinance dedication.
All right, same thing. Any more questions, any discussion, motions?
Move approval.
Moved by Mrs. Arel,
Second.
second by Mr. Mattson. Seeing no hands, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Say, no, same sign. I'm losing it. Okay, 4-2 passes unanimously. 4-3, please read that one in.
4-3, ordinance to amend zoning map, rezoning from A2 to PUD commercial, B3 and additional uses into Columbia Park West PUD, Amendment 8 located at 4200 block of 40th Avenue South.
All right, any comments, questions, motions?
Move approval.
Moved by Mr. Rell, second by Mr. Kuhn. Any further discussion? Not, let's call for a vote. All those in favor? Signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed, same sign. 4-3 passes unanimously. 4-4,
4-4, annexation of Opportunity Park Second Re-subdivision located at 4200 to 4400 block of 40th Avenue South.
all right. All, anybody
Move to approve.
move to approve? Second by Mr. Lunsky. Discussion, Mr. Budke.
Yeah, I'll be brief. I've mentioned this before when annexations have come up. There's this worksheet is included in here. I know it's in another item as well. I think I've probably implied it before, but I want to just state explicitly, I do not think that this annexation worksheet is asking the right questions. I think it's wholly inadequate to the question of what is it we're evaluating when we're choosing to bring something inside city limits. So that's all I had to say. Thank
Duly
you.
noted. Okay. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Aye. Okay, one opposed, Mr. Budke. Okay, 4-5, we probably will wrap 6 and 7 with that as well again. So please read 4-5 in.
4-5, replat of Lot 4, Block 2, Southern Estates First Edition located at 4200 South 19th Street.
Ms. Edwardson.
Sounds good. So we had a brief information-only item last month regarding this development. Developers also had a neighborhood meeting in January to go through it. So this would be the residential development. 40th Avenue South is page left here, north, and then South 19th Street. Toby Lane development and Thompson Homes development is just off to top of the page there. So what the developers are proposing, and they've since taken the feedback received at the info only with questions regarding density and parking and propose the current concept you see here, which is a reduction in terms of R2 units along the west side of the park under the R2 zoning designation. R3 would be being proposed for the 6 4-unit complexes on the east side. Visitors parking has been included both on the north and south side of the developments. Other kind of quirky things is, with the plat at least, would be Lot XX here, which is on the northern side, is fully encumbered by a slope easement necessary for the long-term maintenance of the south end drainway. The city's requesting that be deeded to the city in order to more appropriately control that long-term for the future. And so that dedication does increase their overall impervious. They were counting that towards their impervious previously. Dedicating it to the city thus increases it. So that's why the zoning request also includes a 65% impervious allocation to the overall development, which staff is supportive of because that win for the control over that slope easement is significant for the city. So other elements, the driveways are offset simply because of utility plans. Engineering is currently working with the developer to figure out final layouts there, but sanitary will end up being deep in this area, just given its proximity to lift stations and things like that, which requires a larger depth to be able to excavate and maintain in the future. So one side will most likely have a larger depth than the other, just due to that utility need. But which side it ends up on and the final layout of utilities is still under discussion at this point. So the annexation's pretty standard in terms of just annexing whatever hasn't been annexed for that unannexed island to date. So that one's pretty standard, but could answer any questions you might have. Developer and engineer are also in attendance to ask any questions as well.
All right, we'll open up questions kind of for it all, so if anybody has any questions, go ahead, Mr. Butsky.
Yeah, I just had two quick things. One was just, wanted to say I appreciated all of the, I guess, transparency that the developers had on this, with the public meeting ahead of time, the informational last month. So I just really appreciated that. I did have a question. There was this, this issue of like the purchase option for the Park District in the past, which they chose not to exercise, if I followed that correctly. I was curious if the park was ever interested in buying just, say, the southernmost portion of this, like the rightmost portion on the print. It was pointed out, if you look at the aerial photo, not all of this piece of property is like cultivated. Some of it seems to be like mowed grass by the Park District. Are they aware of that? Has there been the option to buy maybe that piece of it?
Yep, go ahead. I was going to punt it, but we probably has a more accurate answer.
Good evening. My name is Mike Corman. I'm with CPS. We're assisting the developer on this. We're also the Park District engineers as well. Anyway, you see where that grass is on the south end? That's actually the Park District's encroaching on Gradovich property.
Right.
And they planted trees on there. And they're aware of that, and so are the Gradoviches. But just kind of how it ended up,
Okay.
I don't think there was a survey done before they did the planting trees and the seeding, so it's very important that people do that, right? So that you don't have problems like this.
Okay. So the Park District, I imagine they're aware of this proposal, so
Yes.
hopefully they've seen this image and they're aware that those trees will be.
Right, yeah, they're aware of that. And pre-COVID too, we had a meeting and there was some discussions that we talked about at last month's meeting about doing a, kind of squaring off the park property and then extending roads over to 41st Avenue and Star. But there was some pushback from the neighborhood with that. Concerned more about more traffic on 20th and also parking. That purchase option, I think, goes back probably about 25 years ago. And that option was never exercised by the Park District. And I think that it's probably at least 15 years ago that kind of went away, that option did, so.
Okay.
But they were aware, like when we were doing that land swap, they had the opportunity to buy the land too, and they didn't want to buy it.
They didn't at
so.
that time. Okay. All right. Thank you very much.
Yep. Any other questions for Mr. Corman while he's up here? I don't see anybody, Mike, so I think you're good. All right. I guess we'll split them up. We've already read 4, 5 into the record. So any comments or questions or motions on 4, 5?
Steve, I'll make a motion.
Thanks, Miss Sandy.
Yep, I'll make the motion to approve, and I also really appreciate that the developer listened to the neighbors and they listened at our planning and zoning meeting last time when they brought it forward for informational. It's always unfortunate that we're turning parkland or intended parkland and developing it, but I think that, I don't know what else would be appropriate there. And so I think this is likely going to be the best use, because we also probably need to consider the fact that there is a landowner here that has a right to sell their property. And so with that, I just move approval.
Okay. Well, we have a motion on the floor. Do we have a second? Second by Mr. Lunsky. Any further discussion? Not seeing any. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. 4, 5 passes unanimously. 4, 6, please read that in.
4-6, ordinance to amend zoning map, rezoning from PUD Park School to PUD Single Family Duplex R2 and PUD Multi-Family R3 within Southern Estates PUD Amendment 17, located at 4200 South 19th Street.
Okay, commission.
Move approval.
Moved by Mr. Mattson,
Second.
second by Mr. Rell. Any further discussion? Not seeing any hands. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. 4, 6 passes unanimously. 4, 7, read that, please.
4-7, annexation of the lots 3 and 4, Block 2, Southern Estates First Edition, and portion of SE1, Section 21, Township 151 North, and Range 50W, located at 4200 South 19th Street.
Okay, bring it back to the commission. Moved by Mr. Kuhn. You got her. Okay, any other discussion? That, I'll call for a vote. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, 4-7 passes unanimously. Now, I too want to mention that the developer reached out to me, listened to what we said, and did everything right on this one, and that's why I think we bent a little back and forth, so nice job, you guys. Really nice job. All right, reports from the planning department.
So we have this month's monthly update for site plans. Since the last monthly update, we have approved the Grand Forks Wastewater Treatment Facility Phase 2. Under review since last update, we have multiple. As it's getting gradually warmer outside, we'll be getting more and more. So this is just the start of that. First, we have a new McDonald's at South Washington Street and 40th Avenue South, Spectra Health parking lot reconstruction, the new Valley Middle School, a warehouse fit up in the industrial park, and a central chiller plant at the Alara Center. Other items on here is a link to the MPO exec board page. You can look at agendas, minutes, things like that. We've also included some other MPO resources like the Grand Valley Pedestrian Crossing Study and Safe Streets for All, and also the water treatment plant RFQ. I know there was a question about that last month, so there's that for anyone interested. And finally, we have some articles for background and education. We have some local news as well as some housing analyses and planning trends and zoning rewrites information. So,
All right, thank you, Ms. Johnson. So with that, any other business? Questions, comments? That?
Steve, I should mention, City Council on Monday night did finish up with the merge of our departments too, just so you're aware. I don't think you guys will see any difference, but just wanted to make you aware of that. We've been in very closely aligned already with community development. That's just going to further that to the next step, so.
Very good. Thanks, Mr. Brooks. With that, can I get a motion to adjourn?
To adjourn.
So moved. Meeting adjourned. Thank you, everybody. Look, Ben really saved you.